In the Pokemon community, there's a challenge called the Nuzlocke. A Nuzlocke is a set of self-imposed rules that goes as follows. You can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter per route. If a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and you can no longer use it. And you must name all your Pokemon to grow more attached to them. So technically by these rules, if you're not cautious enough, you can lose a Pokemon game. I've always wanted to do a Nuzlocke, but I never really forced myself to, but that all changes today. And since the new games have, let's call it mixed reviews, I decided to play through Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I never finished Brilliant Diamond, but I did finish regular Diamond, and Sinnoh is a pretty hard region to play through, so I think it'll be fun. With that being said, let's jump right into my Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke challenge. I walk to Barry's house and he immediately bumps into me and doesn't even apologize to me. The bastard. He tells me he's going to the local lake to search for a legendary Pokemon and I think he's expecting to catch it. I don't know. I honestly think Barry's just dumb. At the lake we see Professor Rowan and Dawn, and naturally we don't say anything to them like a couple of creeps. We notice that he left his briefcase and try to return it, but we're literally attacked by birds. Backed into a corner, we do the only logical thing to do. We rob the man and take the Pokemon from his briefcase. I chose Chimchar, the best fire-type Pokemon in this region, and named it Tomato. After the greatest battle in the world, I go back to my house and tell my mom that I'm leaving the house and going on a grand adventure as a 10-year-old. I make my way to the professor's lab and receive my Pokedex. And finally, I'm done with... Anyway, my first encounter was on Route 201 and I caught a Starly. It was pretty easy to catch and I named it Peach. Later on Route 202, I caught a Shinx and named it Squash. Having Chimchar, Starly, and Shinx all before the first gym is pretty good. I moved on to Jubilife City into the trainer school and... So in about 3 trainer battles, I almost lost my starter. Why don't I have a good feeling about this anymore? I went on to Route 203 where I had my first rival battle with Barry. There's a running theme throughout this game where Barry thinks that he's gonna beat me every single time he faces me, but the problem is, he sucks. After bashing his Piplup and Starly, I went on to Orberg City and challenged Rourke, and I wasn't too scared of him because Tomato had evolved and learned Mach Punch. So the first badge was pretty easy. On my way to Floroma Town, Peach evolved into a Staravia, and I was feeling pretty good about my team so far. That feeling only continued as at the Valley Windworks I encountered a Shellos which I named Strawberry. My team was untouchable, nothing could take us down. Inside the Valley Windworks building was Team Galactic. You know, doing evil shit and whatnot. I fought some grunts and before you know it, Squash was evolving too. Challenging Commander Mars wasn't very frightening until... But Squash is fine and we managed to cheat death once again. In Eterna Forest, I caught a Veneri and named it Carrie and made it my mission to evolve it because I've never had a Lopunny ever, so I decided what the hell, and went for it. On to the second gym, and with Peach and Tomato, this gym was incredibly easy and the second gym badge was mine. After cutting the trees outside the Galactic building, I ran up and faced the toughest battle I had yet against Commander Jupiter. It didn't help that Carrot was poisoned and the team's HP was also pretty low, but a hero came to my aid. Back in the Orberg Gate, I caught a Geodude and named it Celery, and I thought it was a good idea to keep it around because Geodude's a pretty beefy Pokemon. Celery took out the Zubat pretty easily but was poisoned by the Stunky. With the team's HP being pretty low, I had to heal up. She held off as long as she could to let me heal the team but unfortunately was killed in action. Thank you, Celery. Thank you for your sacrifice. Squash then came out and was able to finish the job after a very long battle. To help cheer me up from the loss of Celery, I went to Route 207 where I encountered a Bronzor, caught it, and named it Dragon Fruit. Actually, I tried to name it Grapefruit, but the Switch wouldn't allow me to enter that name because, So it remained unnamed and in a box until I thought of a new name. Arriving in Hearthome City, a Beaneri ran straight into my dick. I competed in a dance recital, and I even tried to challenge the gym leader, but she wasn't there. So I went over to Route 209 and found myself a Magikarp who I named Cantaloupe, which is definitely the wrong spelling of the word cantaloupe, but we're just gonna move swiftly past that. Pro tip to future YouTubers, don't record a video when you're on 3 hours of sleep. Just past Elysion Town on Route 210, I encountered a Ponyta, which is awesome to have just in case something happened to Tomato. Fine, Ponyta isn't that great of a Pokemon anyway. To fill out some space on the team, I went back to the box and picked up Cabbage the Cricketone, whom I caught on Route 204. Surprisingly, Cabbage was one of my stronger Pokemon, and I was using her in almost every battle until... Yes, in hindsight, I should have healed when I had the chance, but I didn't think a meta type that was 5 levels under me would get priority moves. Time to find some more Pokemon, so I found a Kadabra on Route 215. We held a funeral for Cabbage in the local Pokemon Center and replaced her with the soon-to-be-named Dragon Fruit. Squash ended up evolving too, and things were starting to look up a little bit. It came time to challenge the third gym in Veilstone City. I put Squash in the box because I didn't need her for this gym, but I was sorely mistaken. I thought my team had an advantage until Peach got sniped by a Machoke and became my third death. But the hits kept coming, so buckle up. With vengeance in my soul, I challenged Maylene. I led with Squash, who took down her Meditite with ease, and then swapped to Banana, the Kadabra I caught, to take on a Machoke. And he died instantly. Now I was starting to panic. I had already lost 2 members of my team to this gym and did not feel like losing anymore. And before you know it, I lost another one. Strawberry came out to try to avenge the deaths of Peach and Banana and was hit hard by the Machoke and perished. After a long, grueling battle, I finally beat Maylene and obtained a 3rd gym badge. I said my final goodbyes to Peach, Banana, and Strawberry and moved on. I added Plum the Zubat and Cantaloupe the Magikarp to the team and pressed forward. On the way to Pastoria City, Cantaloupe, Plum, and Carrot all evolved, and I was still feeling a bit grumpy about what happened in Veilstone City, so I took my anger out on Crasher Wake's gym and steamrolled his whole entire gym. 4th badge acquired. Cynthia appears out of nowhere and tells me to take an old charm to her grandmother in Celestic Town, and on the way there both Tomato and Plum evolved, and I was extremely happy about that. Upon entering Celestic Town, I deliver the charm to Cynthia's grandmother, and she begins telling me a story about how there were 3 magic lake people or something. I don't really know. I fell asleep during her monologue. But she also gave me Surf, which was pretty snazzy. I tried to leave and was interrupted by Team Galactic's leader, Cyrus. He starts preaching to me about how the world sucks and how he needs to make a new one, but I don't care. Finally, I can go back to Hearthome City and take on Fantina, who's been avoiding me. She was no match for Cantaloupe and the newly evolved Dragonfruit. And the 5th badge was mine. Moving on. Things were going good and I was on my way to Cantalave City to obtain the next gym badge. And I would have had a clean sweep against Byron's team, but his fucking Steelix somehow outsped Tomato and one-shot her using an Earthquake. Cantaloupe came out to finish the job, but my heart was already broken. The Pokemon I had for the longest was now gone. There was nothing I could do about it. We had a moment of silence for Tomato, gone, but not forgotten. I snatched the 6th gym badge and headed outside. I went back towards Wayward Cave to encounter a Gibble, who I caught and named Parsnip. This was really good because Garchomp is undoubtedly the strongest Pokemon in the region that isn't a legendary, so having Parsnip a part of the team was awesome. Then Team Galactic set off a fucking bomb, so Barry, Dawn, and I decided to split up and check up on all the lakes. I headed to Lake Valor, and after battling a couple of grunts, I came across another commander named Saturn, and I take care of him with ease. Then I went to Lake Verity and did the exact same thing to Mars, and Parsnip evolved. While heading to Lake Acuity on Route 216, I encountered a typical trainer and thought nothing could go wrong, but of course, something always goes wrong. Dragonfruit falls victim to a mirror coat one-shot from this girl and her Lopunny. I'm sorry, Dragonfruit, I let you down. I had to get something quick, so I hopped in the grass right there and caught a Snover. I named it Papaya. After walking through a snowstorm with short sleeves, I finally made it to Lake Acuity, and the entrance was being blocked by some grunts and I couldn't move past them. In the meantime, I could go take on Candace and obtain the next gym badge. This gym I was actually kinda scared for. We just lost Tomato and I didn't have a rock or fire type that could help out. Not seeing much of an option, I took a deep breath and decided to battle her with the team I had. Things were going well in the beginning. Carrot took out her Snover and I switched to Plum to take out the Medicham. Unfortunately for me, the Snover had the ability Snow Warning and was enough to take care of Plum. Carrot came back out and finished the job she started, and we got the 7th gym badge. I called upon Guava the Meditite I caught on Route 211 to fill a spot on the team. Finally, we can enter Lake Acuity, and when I get there, Barry's mouth is on the ground, flabbergasted as to how he got beaten. I didn't know what to say, so I just headed over to Veilstone HQ and fought every single trainer to get revenge for the loss of Plum. After what felt like 3 days, I finally get to Cyrus and battle him, and when I beat him, he gifted me a Master Ball for some reason. Then I freed the Lake Guardians after battling Saturn and whooping his ass because he is weak! It's getting pretty annoying to deal with Team Galactic, so I head over to Mount Cornet to finally put an end to Team Galactic. Atop Spirit Pillar, I see Cyrus, but before I can get to him, I'm stopped by Jupiter and Mars. As I plan to mop the floor with them, Barry materialized out of nowhere and says he'll help. Together, Barry and I take out Mars and Jupiter, and after the battle, Papaya and Guava evolved. With this new power I possess, I take on Cyrus for the final time and sweep his whole team. After subsequently being defeated, Team Galactic just leaves me alone. Yes, me, an unattended 10-year-old child with the ancient deity of time, Dialga. As I prepare for the most intense battle of my life, Dialga was looking me square into my soul with its red eyes, and I threw a purple ball at it and chucked it right into my PC. I don't have time for it. So I made my way onto Sunyshore City, and on the way Parsnip evolved. I challenged the gym leader Volkner, and he's the toughest gym leader, and he's pretty depressed because nobody's good at battling him anymore, so I grab him by the throat and make him have the best Pokemon battle of all time. Just kidding, I beat him like the rest and finally obtained the 8th gym badge. And with that, I made my way into Victory Road and towards the Pokemon League. While in Victory Road, I came my closest to death because of these 2 ace trainers. Luckily, I made it out with no casualties and made it to the Pokemon League. But that battle really opened my eyes a bit. The Elite Four go pretty hard in this game, and the champion is even worse. And if I wanted to beat them, I need to think long and hard about the team I should use. After a couple days of training and research, I think I finally got it. The team itself didn't change that much, but the levels and movesets did. I fought Barry one more time to give me that boost of confidence that I needed, and I continued on to the Elite Four. First up was the easiest, Aaron. Parsnip took out his Dustox and Drapion, Carrot took out his Heracross, and Squash took out both his Beautifly and Vespiquen. On to Bertha. Papaya easily KO'd her Quagsire and Wishcash, Guava was able to handle her Sudowoodo, Parsnip took care of her Golem with an assist from Papaya, and Cantaloupe demolished her Hippowdon. So far so good, and on to Flint. I led with Cantaloupe and was able to take out his Rapidash, Steelix, and Infernape, switched to Guava to take care of the Lopunny, and then switched to Squash to handle his Drifloon. Now we're at the last member, and oh boy, Lucian was the hardest of all the Elite Four. Things started off good with Squash being able to KO his Mr. Mime and Alakazam. I then switched to Carrot to take care of his Medicham, but it didn't die, and it hit me with a high jump kick, which one-shot Carrot. Parsnip came out to finish the job, but the damage was already done, and Carrot was gone. I decided to switch to Squash again to take care of the Girafarig, and it was going well until... oh dear. Cantaloupe came out to take care of his final Pokemon Bronzong, and I won the battle. But I didn't have a lot of time to mourn the loss of my two legends. They will be deeply missed. Finally, I made it to the champion, Cynthia. It didn't start off well as Guava ate a Shadow Ball to the face and was killed. Cantaloupe then came out and helped finish off the Spiritomb. Papaya managed to KO her Gastrodon, Roserade, and Milotic, while Parsnip took out her Lucario. Now I have a fighting chance. My 3 Pokemon to her 1. But this last one is a doozy. She sent out her Garchomp. This Pokemon was known to end runs in a single sweep. I sent out Cantaloupe to do some chip damage and stall while I healed the rest of my team. I couldn't let Papaya or Parsnip die. They were my only chance. Looking certain death in the face, Cantaloupe was hit by a Dragon Claw, but survived on 1 HP, and then healed some more with his leftovers. Her Garchomp was in the yellow, so I switched and went all in on Blizzard with Papaya, and somehow Papaya outsped her Garchomp. I have no idea why or how, all I know is that it just happened, and I won. As I'm being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I feel the spirits of all the Pokemon I lost. Celery, Cabbage, Peach, Banana, Dragonfruit, Plum, Carrot, Squash, Guava, and any other Pokemon who's helped me get to this point. I was finally able to rest, knowing that I am the Sinnoh region champion.